Okay, we can start. We are on live.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. We have the privilege of having Mr. VINAYKUMAR Patri, the president of Madras Theosophical Federation, who will be presenting his views on the constitution of man. Before we start, let's start with the universal invocation. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom, O hidden light, shining in every creature, O hidden love, embracing all in oneness, may all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. Mr. VINAYKUMAR Patri is not doing well today, but still he has come up. We all thank him for the same thing, and he'll be sharing his screen and the interpretation as far as he goes, he would do it. So over to Mr. VINAYKUMAR Patri.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Everybody can hear you, I believe.
Thank you, Advai Srisha. So, and I would like to thank Pradeep ji and the members of the forum for giving me this opportunity to give my thoughts around this very important subject, which is the third chapter in the Theosophy explained in question answers, which is the constitution of man. So I will do my best to pictorially represent this and explain the questions. And my thought process is not just to stick to the concepts that are the verbiage that is given in the book, Theosophy explained in question answers, but also give an additional information that is again related to Theosophy, mentioned elsewhere, and then annotated and make a reference. So having said that, again, thanking all the organizers, including Pradeep ji, for this opportunity. Let me begin. So I will share my screen now. Please confirm when you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen, sir.
Thank you. So we are talking about this Theosophy explained in question answers, chapter 3, the constitution of man. Let me go with the first question straight away, where it depends upon the constitution of man. The question goes, when the constitution of man is so well known to the Western science, what more can Theosophy can say about this subject? Well, the simple answer for this is, I'm seeing this. Very simple answer, a straightforward answer for this is that Western science despairs only the physical body. In fact, it's not just Western now. In those days, it used to be the advanced countries with the West, but science is advanced all over the world now, including the East, and most specifically in as far as the medicine goes. Most of the doctors are from India and US. So that statement may not be all that relevant, but still, when we talk about this from constitution of man with reference to science, yes, the science may have may be advanced and it may talk more about the constitution of man and physical aspects of it. We'll come to that. But this is more of not this physical body, but it is the real man inside. So the real man that is glowing from inside has a different constitution. So it is important that we understand that more. And geography, science, and all of those actually do not really matter, as long as who is able to articulate about and understand deeply about this more. So it's like the physical body is a real man versus he is like a tenant. My father used to say, I remember him saying, he himself being a veteran theosophist, man is a tenant in his body and he has to pay a rent to maintain it, and then has to leave to his real house where the actual work will begin. So we are tenants in this body, and we have to give that respect only to that extent. Then we go on to the next question, which is how then the Theosophy explains the constitution of man. Okay, we think that physical body is not all constitution. Then what is this constitution all about? Then we have to, according to the Theosophical teaching, man is in a sense monad, a fragment of divinity, a ray of God, a spark of divine fire, dwelling all the time in the monadic or upadaka plane of nature. So this term, Sanskrit term, means parentless. It is derived from the Sanskrit. So the word means, therefore, one who does not proceed according to the regular succession. Nothing about monad. So Theosophy, according to Theosophical society, it is used to denote the self-born or the parentless. And in various other terms in southern India, it is also called Swayambhu. So we see several temples in India where Shivalinga or various deities say that they have come on their own. Nobody have actually carved a stone there and then installed a temple there or consecrated a temple. But it is an idol that has come from the ground, Swayambhu, that is manifested by itself, self-born, self-manifested, self-existing, or that is created by its own accord. So he is the son of God and has to grow and evolve like his divine father. So this monad is incapable of acting to the lower worlds. Therefore, he has to manifest into the lower worlds in a different form, taking the clothes upon himself into different ways as it goes down, wearing different garments, and the drawing material from the respective regions of the universe as he descends. And then he has to evolve. So now the next question comes. All right, if monad stays all the while in monadic or anupadaka, how can he manifest himself in the lower worlds? You are answering that he's a son of God, and then he's a divine spark. I mean, he's a partial portion of a divine spark, and he has to. He still is dwelling on the very high levels. And then, how does he evolve? How does he how does he get into this existence and then grow on all factors? So the answer goes the personality again, I would say, or the individuality is a small portion of that great divine spark. And then when the monad descends on one stage and enters the spiritual path, he shows himself in three aspects, of which first, remaining always in that world, and that world is called Atma, or spirit in man. The second, manifesting itself in intuitional or Buddhic plane. It is intuition. It is not intellect as yet. It is intuitive. It's spoken of buddhi or intuition of man. So we have the second area in which we sense. And then the third, showing itself in the higher mental plane, is also called the manas. And this is where we see the intelligence in man. So this is the area where all these calculations and concepts and all the mind game begins. And there are different levels, even at this level. There is the manasic level where the intellect begins to function. Now, this threefold manifestation of the monad, the three levels, showing itself as Atma, Buddhi, Manas, the spirit, intuition, and the intellect, is referred as ego. Or it is the next level of one level above the individuality. And this ego is the man during the human stage of evolution in the world of manifestation, which is a fivefold universe. Now, I'm introducing new concepts here. We are introducing the universe, and we are talking about 5 layers, and then we just talked about the 3 worlds in which the monad descends. And let us see how, little more clarity, how monad unfolds himself into various lower levels and various bodies that he takes, and at various levels of consciousness. Now, before I actually go into that and explain those bodies and those levels and all that, I'd like to give a clarity on how the descent actually happens and how he unfolds himself. So there is a divine spark, and within that divine spark, and as infinite, very small, minuscule part of the divine spark is the monad, right? So it's a small, very fragmented, an infinitesimal fragment of the divine spark is the monad. And then the monad, again, as I told you, he has to go down and then evolve. So that evolution has to happen in the next fragments. An infinitesimal small fragment or portion of the monad that is referred as ego. And then again, the next level, an infinitesimal small portion fragment of ego is represented by a personality. So we are seeing 4 different levels. I'm taking science with the scientific approach. We're just trying to divide and dissect and then objectively see at what levels the divine has unfolded itself, and it is operating at various levels. Now, so ego takes the vehicle referred as causal body. Okay, so the monad, the Atma Buddhi on a higher manas level, all of these 3, they take this shape, they take this vehicle of the causal body. It is not a casual body. In my younger days, I used to call, I used to refer this book, Causal Body, and then I used to call it casual body. Then my father pulled me up and said, repeat, what is this? What did you say? I said, casual body. Then he gave me a lecture. He said, it is not casual, it is the cause. It is the causal body. It's not a casual, you cannot take it so casually. So yeah. So it is actually the karana sarira. The reason or the cause or the seed of the subtle body that goes and takes the next level of gross body. It is the immortal entity which passes from one incarnation to another. And a human being goes through the death and again rebirth. Now, the next level, after this Atma Buddhi Manas, as we have seen, the lower levels he has been sent. It is called the lower manas, the Kama, Linga, Sarira, and physical. So he takes the personality. So that, and then the next level is the personality, and then the personality takes the body of astral. It takes the astral body as a vehicle. Astral body is a vehicle through which the personality moves around. And then the next level again, the personality again goes down into this physical aspects, linga and physical aspects. Linga Sarira is the double level, which is before. And then before descending to the physical world, you must pass through these lower mental and astral worlds. And when the descent is going, and as doing so, draws around himself material of those planes, which are later formed into mental and astral bodies. So only after having assumed these intermediate vehicles, he can only then come into touch with physical, baby physical body and be born into the physical world. Right? Now, after completing his journey downwards, so there are two aspects here. One is the monad at the highest level is coming down in manifestation and assuming all of these bodies. And there are reincarnations there. It is not that okay, once he has come and conquered and then he is not going to the Kaivalya. I mean, it is not, this person is not perfected there. There are several incarnations, several attempts, 3 attempts to master as he goes down, gain the complete experience, to gain the complete experience before it becomes perfected. So these reincarnations, the act of birth and cycle through many lives, many people divided into thousands and fragments of people continues. And then once he finishes off his journey, lower level, he goes back. So this is not what I'm showing you is this is not sorry. Okay, so when he has to go back, the way I've shown you where the fire comes and then it is going up, it is the actual reincarnation, reincarnation. It is not the resurrection there, or it is not the what they call as evolutionary path. The evolutionary path is a different representation where all the lower levels of the nature, lower nature is conquered and then he moves up. So that representation is different, but it's only a matter of how he comes down in each incarnation, assuming all of these bodies and then leaving the bodies, each one of them at each stage and going up before he comes back. So one important aspect is evolution does not happen at this Atmic and Buddhic plane. It happens only in the first files, up to higher manas. And then finally, when he merges into this the monadic level, the Buddhic and Atmic, that's where the final merger happens. Ekatvam. So that I can that's it. But let us see how. Okay, it has come now. This is my imaginative representation of how he finishes off his body and the next incarnation. Let's go to the next question. Very important, and I like this very much. I like to take time to explain this. What are these mental and astral elementals? So before I answer this question, I would like to explain, because when I have to explain what are these mental and astral elementals, I have to use certain words like logos and outpourings, etc. So I would like to take a step back and explain what these logos are and what are these outpourings are, and then come to the subject of this elementals, mental and astral. So let me explain what this logos is. And I'll tell you how logos is involved in all of this mental and ability. The key to the understanding of this concept or the word found in the word logos is in itself. That means the word logos is itself a word by spirit and nature. Means that it is a Greek word equating to speech. It is actually meaning word or verbum or the voice. In ancient Greece, Plato, Heraclitus, and then Stoics were the main originators of the philosophical sense of the term. Although the concept itself predates them by long years, the whole idea behind this literal meaning of the word logos is that it is an expression in manifestation. This word logos may be called in the language of old writers either in terms of Ishvara or Pratyagatma or Sabda Brahma. So the word Sabda Brahma or Nada Brahma means transcendental sound. In Puranas, Purva Mimamsa, Vedas, it deals, Purva Mimamsa in Vedas, it deals with this word Sabda Brahma. I don't want to digress a lot and then put you into a lot of contextual though, but a lot of content. But let me summarize. It is called the verbum, or the word of, or the word actually. But we can see this, as I mentioned, not only in Hinduism but in various religions. It is referred. It is called Avalokiteshvara by the Buddhists. And in the opening verses of the Saint John's Gospel in Christian Testament, it is read as, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. And it goes on. In Him was life, and life was the light of men. And light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. All of these verses, I'm sure if you are members of the society, have been attending these meetings of Mystic Star, and if those who are members of Masonry, you would know, quite frequently referred. But the bottom line is that it is referred to the great word, the sacred word, which is the Logos. This is nothing but the ultimate supreme law. And from Him, it is the three dimensions. There are first, second, and third Logos. These are the three attributes, as we say, and three dimensions in which the divine has expressed it or represented, can be represented or expressed itself in occasions. And there have been great outpourings. That means they are from these three different qualitative dimensions of the great divine. There has been this breath of God. That means that there is an outpouring where the life begins. First of all, there is a basis. All conducive conditions for life is created, which is called as matter. Then all conducive conditions to create life comes. Then all life comes. Let me explain. So there are three great outpourings. So what are these outpourings? The three that I have mentioned about Logos itself is represented by three different dimensions. Third Logos. And then in the third Logos provides the first outpouring coming from the, and then it provides 7 planes. And then the next outpouring, or the 7 planes, as we have seen earlier, all this basis for existence come in. The second Logos will provide all the in their outpouring, the pre-human kingdoms of nature through which the consciousness evolves. That is, they're creating a basis for life to descend. And then the third outpouring comes from the first logos. And that's where the human soul enters in the highest animal form and starting the stage for the human evolution. So now all matter is vivified by the first outpouring. So when there is an outpouring, that matter that is created initially, that outpouring is vivified. And then all forms are also ensouled and vivified by the second outpouring, which is generally called the elemental essence, but which is often described as monadic essence, especially when it is ensouling the atomic matter of each of the planes on its downward course. So the body consciousness of the mental and astral bodies called respectively the mental and astral elementals. So this is once this is created, the entire life begins, and then the mental and astral matter in the respective vehicles is created. So body consciousness is on the bottom line. The body consciousness of the mental and astral bodies called respectively the mental and astral elementals. It is the life of the elemental essence, mental and astral matter in their respective vehicles. So what now this can be explained further. This concept can be explained further, and then I'm trying to reflect it in various religions, how this is represented and how it could be reimagined as technology allows it. So this mental elemental essence has got an astral mental element which has got different dimensions, and it is represented in physical way and in different methods in different religions. So if you look at the Christian cross, the horizontal bar represents the matter, and then the vertical bar of the cross represents the spirit that is descending into the matter. Okay, so this is the concept of Christianity. The horizontal bar is the base of spirit, or the matter into which the spirit descends. So this concept is all over the world in various religions, in some way or the other, in symbolically it is represented. Now let us look at the same representation. You might be surprised to draw parallels. It is also same in Shivalinga. The base or the yoni of Shivalinga, which is the matter, and the spirit descends the same way as cross. Right? This together constitutes the Shivalinga, the spirit and the matter. And then, of course, we can go dwell in different ways. I mean, this is also referred as Ardhanarishwara and various representations. And then there's a little more explanation can be given where we can bring in the third aspect, which is the Trinity. And then we can another day we can dwell on it, but I would like to stick on to my subject today. But anyways, because it is related to the elemental essence. So when the spirit has descended into the matter, and then along with it, in the involution that happens initially, the downward descent would come in various forms, various matter, various bodies has been created, and then the downward movement, as we can see, the downward movement begins, and then that is where there's an intense desire for the monad, which is going to taking various shapes to go for the materialistic aspect. So there is the downward trend before the experience is enriched, and then it returns back with all experiences. So that is how, when the descent comes in, a lot of material is gathered, And as that has already happened now, and it is our duty now to realize that, and then we have to go up, then we are finding different ways. So, but we are here now. Having said that, we are in this stage, in this condition where we have all descended. In this context, can I take the liberty of calling all ourselves as monkeys? I'm showing this for a purpose. Why am I calling all ourselves as monkeys? Look at the way the monkey is jumping. And it is, of course, enjoying itself, completely involved, completely into the act of doing that. It is doing it's living its life. But why am I calling ourselves as monkeys? If you think, I think you would have got the answer. We are not stable. We wander. We wander not only physically, but also mentally. Every minute, every second, there is a fluctuation. We keep on thinking and jumping from one thought to another. For a monkey, it's a tree. For us, it's a thought. We keep jumping. I'm just drawing parallels because I don't see any difference with reference to that until and unless we take ourselves into hand and act. Right? So the living essence is the matter of the mental body, always reaching out for varieties in vibration, and has the strongest possible objection to being held down for a long time in one definite rate. So this we find in the case of our endeavors at concentration. So when we decide to, okay, let us concentrate or meditate. When we decide to do that, can we sit even for 10, 15 seconds or 20 seconds without our knowledge, initial stages, without our knowledge or even consciousness, we would have been jumping like this monkeys, one thought to another. So, I was when I teach technology in my office, I used to bring this subject and I used to put a dot on a board and then ask them to just look at the dot for about 30, 40 seconds. And then ask them questions, how many have thought about their breakfast, or about their programs in the evening, and so on and so forth. 70 to 80% or even 90% of people keep their hand on the heart and then say, yes, we were thinking about something else than what you asked us to do. Chitta-vritti. That is the word that comes to our mind. It is a quality that constantly impels us to wander throughout vigorously and resist our effort to hold it down in one definite line. So, in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we come across this. We call this Chitta-vritti. And there are various practices to restrain the Nirodha, which is, I'll come to that in a minute. But the life that is animating the matter, which the mental and astral bodies are built, is upon the downward or the downward into the matter, so that the progress for it means greater materiality, descending into the denser forms of matter, leading to express itself through them. Okay, so the astral elemental that is the life animating the molecules of matter in the astral body, also called the desire elemental, is a coarse and strong. Its evolution, like that of a mental elemental, by its vibration. The vibration in the astral plane is always the result of the passion or emotion of some sort. I've used my imagination by less to represent it with these colors and animation, but the next step in evolution will be to ensoul the physical matter it desires in the grossest, the strongest of the astral vibrations. Remember, this has no intelligence in it. It is just gross matter. But it has the power of adapting to the immediate surroundings and extracting from it as to what it wants. So the life in the mass molecules in astral body as a sense, and it behaves like a temporary entity. It does not know that it is part of the man's body. It just cannot understand what a man is. So, as against the interest of the desire element, there is a conflict of interest of a man or a soul which always vibrates and look for non-material aspects. But now, what is this chitta vritti nirodha refers to? It is the calming of mind through the meditative techniques of Patanjali Yoga. By calming these mental fluctuations, the yogi opens himself to experience the union with the divine, the higher self or the absolute reality. And among these fluctuations of mind or the desire and attachment, which can be the worldly objects, ideas, or even relationships. So the term comes from the Sanskrit chitta, meaning consciousness, and or the mind stuff, or vritti, meaning fluctuations. And then the real practice begins. This nirodha is meaning suppression. Suppression is not an accurate word, but restraint, at the nearest word of trying to attempt to overcome this basic instinct of resisting. So, in these techniques, when I will come to that later when I talk my next subjects, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. There are different techniques of sadhana, samadhi, and all. But one analogy I can give: there is a water that flows from the mountain. It's our thoughts. It cannot be contained. You cannot, even in the strongest, the greatest, and the mightiest of the dam cannot contain the ever-flowing, waters if it is uncontrolled. But what can be done is that it can be channeled in a direction where you want it to go. So you have a basic instinct of chitta. That means you have to move. The monkeys will have to move. The monkey cannot sit like this calmly, as you are seeing on the screen. It has to move. Mind has to move. But there is a difference here. Will you allow it to move in the direction in which your mind wants itself to move, or will you move? The movement is satisfied. Will you move or make your mind move in the direction that you want it? So there's a difference. Allowing the mind to wander or controlling or channeling the mind to move in the direction you want it. Both the situations, there's a common factor is movement. Okay. But you are satisfying this chitta of movement, fluctuation, but in a direction that you want. That means you are channeling your thought, even in that irreducible levels of movement, towards, suppose you are channeling towards God. That is the reason why, in another example, in mantras, in Hinduism, the way you pray to the God, they say, okay, Pado Pujyami, Abhim Pujyami, Sikham Pujyami. That means first you pray to the legs, then to the elbows, then to the tummy, then to the heart, then to the head. As you are moving, still you are channeling your thought, but you are retaining your thought onto the entire deity. You are not thinking about somebody else, not about the girlfriend or anybody else. You are still thinking about the God, but still you are ability to channel your thought in a particular direction, but still staying focused is achieved. That is the reason why they gave all these mantras, so enabling us to focus. Anyways, so the man, the soul within the man resists these temptations, the material desires, objects, and it decides he declines to yield himself to this feelings suggested to him and to gratify the lower desires. He then gradually changes astral elemental essence within and builds quite a different creature, different entity. Because the coarse particles that I was trying to project it and animate and then show it to the extent possible, they fall down. So they don't, because man is trying to hold on to those vibrations, they are gaining strength. If man is not responding to those vibrations, the grosser vibrations, they fall down. They become apathetic. And the lack of nourishment. So when you have a very gross thought, you keep on nourishing it, thinking about it again and again, giving it strength, vitality, that becomes a huge demon. I mean, what are demons? Actually, our thought forms. When we are, I mean, I'm not dragging this, but I'll tell you another example. When you visit certain places, you feel like running out from there. It may be a house, or it may be an old bungalow, or any place. You don't feel like staying there because the thoughts which are wandered there generated by people, the inmates who have terribly created those thought forms, they become the temporary entities. They are not intelligent, they are not beings, but they assume themselves as entities. They behave like entities and pounce on those people who are who have a similar vibrations, or even to the small extent a level they become weak at any point of time, they pounce on them. It's not that any demon somewhere it is actually coming and attacking. There will be some spirits, but when we visit certain places, it is impossible to stay because these thoughts that have gathered and hovered and then nourished upon time over and again and again, they attack us actually. So it is important that we every day in our meditations we stay calm, we do our close styling as it is called, and that is the reason why Patri is mentioned, and then keep us very strong so that no thought or no storm can actually shake us. But at the same time, when you visit a wonderful place, I mean, it's wonder is a relative term. When you go to a place or a temple or any other house, sometimes you feel when you meet somebody or when you visit a place, need not be a place of worship. Actually, you come out with a very pleasant feeling. Why? That because in some portions of this monadic elemental essence that is actually retaining its divine sparks within is resonating with that. With that atmosphere in which those people who have lived there have created. And you feel so good about it and remain in memory even much after coming out from that place. So, brethren, if a man yields himself to them, such problems grow stronger and stronger until he feels that he could not resist anymore, and which is exactly what the curious half-life of this particles of the astral body wanting to do. And but if he controls his desires, lives the theosophical life, he will close his present incarnation very much better type of desire elemental than what he brought. So I would like to talk more, but for two reasons I'm not extending. It will be today, recording from a viral. But I would like to talk more next time when we meet. So I'd like to pause today unless somebody has any question.
Yes, thank you, Brother Vinay, for your beautiful renderation of the subject, the constitution of the human, the man. Though you were suffering from viral fever, you have made yourself available today. On behalf of all of the participants, I would like to thank you for the wonderful presentation. Do you want to take questions?
Yeah, I mean, if it is short, I can take it. It is in my mind. I'll answer, otherwise I'll come back.
Yeah, please. If anybody has questions, since he's not doing well, please keep it short. And maybe when he's okay, he can come back and he can give us the complete, with 100% efficiency. Yes, any questions for Brother Vinay? Yes.
May I ask, sir? Very divine evening, sir. You very beautifully described about the monkey mind and monad. So what I have understood, the monad is the consciousness. We can understand like this. Monad means the supreme consciousness.
So
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so that's partially correct. It is supreme. It's a consciousness of the supreme, the ultimate, as they call it, the divines. So again, is it a complete consciousness? No, it is not. It is only a portion of the divine spark. Beyond monad, there is a huge entity over there, which we have absolutely no idea what it is. Adi Moolam, as it is referred. I mean, but monad, so the divine spark has unleashed itself. It just throw like one strand of hair. If God thinks that he is going to put as one strand of hair down, that came monad, and from that some portions of molecule of monad came the ego, and then the individuality, and so on.
Maybe call it spirit, or some very thin, like a small part of that monad, all of those.
Yes, you can assume it like that. But again, if you spirit does not retain itself at the monadic level, definitely contains the spirit, but the spirit goes right down into the lowest levels.
Thank you so much, sir.
So I'm seeing a question, what is the difference between astral plane, etheric plane, and aura? It comes in my next session, but I will answer very briefly here. Let me begin with aura. It is, see, there is a physical body, we have seen. And around the physical body, there are, as you know, there are certain ways in which we behave, think. The thought is the main thing that defines our constitution, as I mentioned. And aura is the immediate reflection immediately above the physical body, which is again part of the constitution, but it represents the vibrations, the thoughts and actions and deeds that the man does, mostly in action, mostly in thoughts. So the aura is a thin layer above the physical body, wherein which it takes different colors. The clairvoyants will talk about it. And it's said that Gautama Buddha's aura travels miles. So it's a representation of the constitution of man and cross very, very close to the body. Astral plane, there is another etheric body, etheric double. No, aura is not etheric double. Aura is different. Aura is just even while the physical body is there, it's a representation. It's a layer above the physical body, but through that there is another, the etheric double or the etheric body is the link between the physical body and the astral plane. So every day when we go to sleep, we go through this. We go and dwell with the astral plane. And our astral body in that astral plane moves around. and that which connects at any point of time is this etheric double, that is a connection between the astral body. If the connection is snapped, the person cannot come back to the physical body again. So etheric double is the one that maintains. So it's a connect between the etheric body, astral body and the physical body. There is a connect. It's an etheric double, and then astral plane is an area. It's another world where the astral body, we in an astral body, is more on. It may be after death. It may be even during your sleep. I hope I have answered. Yes, it is etheric double. Any other question? Thank you.
One more thing, sir. You have described about the three logos, third, second, and first.
Yes.
So can you please explain this again?
So, I mean, as I mentioned, it is the logos is nothing but the supreme.
Supreme consciousness, we may say.
You can call it. I mean, if you
Okay.
the word can be used very relatively.
Okay.
Consciousness is something that has come when the outpouring came. It is beyond consciousness. The outpouring has enabled the consciousness to take place. And then all of these mental lower mental and higher mental and atmic levels. I mean, after the Buddhic atmic, the mental levels. That's where it is giving the way for that. It is beyond consciousness. It is the absolute Brahman, Shatta Brahman, as we are calling it, is the ultimate God. Beyond these Atma Buddhi Mana states, and then he dwells beyond. So that is the logos, now often referred as four logos. I made a brief introduction. In fact, there are several writings on that. We can delve on it. But I wanted to tell you, otherwise, unless I tell you what these logos are and which logo has created what, you will not be able to understand. So that is the reason I brought that topic. But logos as such is nothing but the ultimate God who has enabled the three dimensions of the ultimate through various outpourings, various planes of consciousness, various planes of matter, then consciousness, then life has actually come into our existence.
Yes. We may say it Brahma, Para Brahma in Vedantic language.
Yes. The Brahma is more closely related. But because it is the word, it was the word as they call it, right? Shabda Rupa, then which it is all emanates. Okay.
Nicely explained, very well explained, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My humble gratitude.
Okay, so can we close the meeting in that case if there are no questions? All right, I don't see any more questions, so I think we can close the meeting.